So why would a professional athlete need a sports psychology coach? Why in the world would someone making millions of dollars with incredible God-given talents and all the work that they put in to reach the highest level possible in their profession, why is it that they might need a sports psychology coach? There's a billion reasons, and I'm so excited you're with us because it's the same reasons that you and I reach out for counselors, coaches, and so much more. Hey, this is David Essel. You're tuned in to David Essel Alive, helping Americans and the world to heal, the most positive podcast in the galaxy right here on Buzzsprout.com. As a matter of fact, if you go to Buzzsprout.com and just Google David Essel, you will find thousands and thousands of hours of our interviews, going back to my days on SiriusXM right up to today. So let's talk about why athletes need sports psychology coaches. What is it about being an athlete? And I'm going to tell you some stories of athletes that I've worked with, but what is it about them? Because we look at them as invincible, right? We look at them as that they don't need me. They don't need a professional coach, a counselor, a therapist, a psychiatrist. I mean, my God, they've got all the money in the world. They've got private jets, homes all over the place, people throwing themselves at them, sponsors throwing cash at them constantly. Their life is perfect, right? But let me tell you something. Not too long ago, a major league athlete came to me, a baseball player who had lost his fire. And we worked together for a number of months, and we brought him back to his pre-loss of fire days, and it was all mental health stuff. He was struggling deeply. And his agent found me on the internet and reached out and said, this is the guy that can help you. And we kicked butt. We became friends. He's doing great in the major leagues, but it all came down to that he had lost that passion, that fire, and they couldn't figure out why. So working with me as his sports psychology coach, we found out why. And then we added solutions. I tell in this book, a brand new book, and it's all about mental health and physical health skills for professional athletes. There's even a chapter in here for elite college athletes. But we talk in here about so many of the incredible athletes. Kevin Love from the NBA, the Miami Heat, he was one of the first ones that came out in a PSA, a public service announcement from NBAMindHealth.com, that the greatest move I ever made was asking for help for my mental health challenges. I mean, think about that. If you know anything about NBA basketball, Kevin Love is looked at as one of the top centers, one of the most amazing outlet passers. He's an incredible three-point shooter. The guy just does it all. And he needed help. He needed help with mental health. These athletes, they have struggles by being on the road 60 to 70% of the time. Imagine you're in a relationship right now. Maybe you are in a relationship. Imagine you're in a relationship and either you or your partner are gone 70% of the time. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. The struggles, the missing, the miscommunication, the regrouping, the separation, the regrouping, the stress, the temptations of being on the road. These are all just part of an athlete's life. And what about several of the athletes I write about in my book, where they talk about that on certain teams, they were expected after games, whether they won or lost, to go out and to party. This is a mental health issue. Because those individuals that are extremely independent and confident would say, no, that's not my gig. I'm being paid millions of dollars a year. The fans expect me at my best. My owner expects me at my best. My teammates expect me at my best. My coach expects me at my best. I won't be at my best if I'm out late at night partying. Do you see what I'm saying? There's so many different angles. And then what about this? What about if you got to this incredible high level and you're paid millions of dollars and you have an off season or you get injured? And you're worried about what's next. Do you remember the stories of Klay Thompson? One of the most incredible guards to ever play in the NBA for the Golden State Warriors. He was out 2.5 years. He had a major leg injury that took him out for 1.5 years. And then when he came back, he got another injury that he was out for 1 year. And he says that the mental stress of not knowing if he'd ever be able to return to the game he loved, to the game he committed his life to, would he ever be able to return and play even at a similar level? Would he return at all? For 2.5 years, that's a mental health freaking challenge. Imagine you're in a career and you have a family and you get injured, but your career demands that you're a physical, active person, maybe construction or even truck driving or something like that, right? And you get injured and you cannot earn your income. And you don't know when you're coming back. Do you imagine the stress that you're under? See, these athletes go through all of these kind of things, expectations from sponsors, expectations from fans to never have a bad day. I mean, that is the expectation. When you reach the highest level of any sport, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, tennis, you name it, you are expected every day. You cannot afford an off day. That's the message you're given, right? You can't afford an off day. There's so much pressure to keeping up with the Joneses, to exceeding expectations, to meeting the demands of the coach, the team, the owners. There's so much pressure on these athletes. And the other thing that we don't realize is that many of these athletes will have 2 or 4 years in the professional league and then they're done, either through injury or they weren't as talented as hopeful. There's 1,000 different reasons, right? Maybe they just get traded or they get dropped from the team and no one picks them up. And they go to play at Greece and they play in Japan and they go to these countries, China, they don't know the language and they're just trying to survive to get back to the NBA. These are all mental health challenges. Or what if you're like the boxer Deontay Wilder, who never anticipated becoming a professional athlete, but when his first baby was born with spina bifida and he couldn't afford the medical expenses, he turned to boxing to afford the medical expenses for his baby girl. And then Deontay Wilder is one of those ones that goes on and on and on talking about the mental health challenges and how boxers need to reach out to each other and love each other and how boxers need so much health and how PTSD is the most common form of mental illness in boxers, which means they need professional help. I've given you just a smidgen, just a touch of the variety of reasons of why an athlete needs a sports psychology coach. We have coaches, we have agents, we have other players coming to us recommending certain people to work with. Some sign up right away, some wait and procrastinate, and that's just being human. If I can help you as a professional athlete, as a college athlete, as a high school athlete, we work with athletes of all ages. Go to our website, talkdavid.com. Don't forget, there's 3 books there for free. 2 of them are highly related to mental health help, and they're absolutely free. All you have to do is download them. The website, talkdavid.com. Support your local athletics, your teams. Get behind them. Get excited. And then when one of your favorite players has a couple games that are off, back off a little bit on your judgment, on your expectation, and realize most of all, they're simply human. I'm David Essel. Have an incredible day.